Well, hey guys, and welcome to Into the Night. I've got some pretty exciting news to share. Just letting you know I've signed up with InfiRay to join the Mr. InfiRay program, and so I'm going to be, for the next at least 12 months or so, I'll be reviewing their products and mostly their thermal gear. So I'm pretty excited to be joining up with them and being able to get my hands on a lot of this gear and show you guys how it performs and help you make up your minds. And there's so many different brands and different options out there and different products that even InfiRay themselves make. So I'm going to be giving them all a good workout, and yeah, I'd just like to make it easier for you guys to choose which ones you want to buy if you're in the market for a thermal. So this is the first one they've sent me, is the Tube TH50 V2, or the version 2. So the specs on it are actually very similar to my Pulsar Thermion XP50 Pro. The only difference I've noticed so far really in the spec wise is this here is a sub 20 millikelvin sensor, whereas Pulsar is sub 25, so this should actually be a little bit better with the temperature range. So anyway, it's a 640 by 512 resolution sensor in it, so yeah. And also I've got the rangefinder attachment for it, which is an optional accessory. So the laser rangefinder. So I'll give that a go and show you all how that works. So I thought I'd just do a bit of an unboxing so you can see what comes in the package. I haven't seen too many videos up on YouTube about this scope yet, so I thought, well, I'll put something together so for all those of you who are wondering what comes in it and how to set it up and everything. So anyway, I'll get straight in with it. Okay, so here we've got the scope and the rangefinder. We'll go through the scope first, just to give you a brief unboxing. First we'll get it out the box. That one comes off. You got this nice sort of fabric canvasy sort of bag. A nice carry strap on the back. So here we go. First things first, as we pull them out, there's a eye cup. There's actually a thread, so you can thread it actually onto the back of the scope, which I haven't seen that before. My Pulsar one's got a magnetic thing, you just sort of a press fit on there with a bit of a magnet, whereas other ones are sort of permanently attached like my old Iaming. But this one here, they also send out some heated, like heat pad things for zeroing your thing. There's a number of them in there. There's a microfiber cleaning cloth, lens cloth, a couple scope rings, 30mm scope rings for a Picatinny rail. That'll come in handy. There's a couple batteries for a spare, for the external batteries you can put in the scope. There's a charging cable, USB to USB-C charging cable, and an Allen key, I'd say, for the scope rings. There's a adapter. It's not an Australian socket, so I'll have to put an adapter on that to be able to charge it. And most importantly, there's the scope itself. So there's a diopter adjustment on the back there. There's your focus ring here. It's quite nice and stiff, so it's not going to get bumped real easy. Just a flip open cap on the front with a nice germanium lens on there. 50mm objective lens on it. What else? We got a thread on here, a cap there, so that's how you can charge the internal battery that's in the scope. It'll only charge the internal one there. Those ones there, you'll need to get a charger to charge them. I'm not sure whether it's a standard, whether they actually come with it normally or whether InfiRay has just sent them out. I'll have to check that with them, but you can't charge the external batteries via the USB-C. You can only charge the internal one. So there's actually a little LED in there. When you're charging, that lights up red, and when it'll go green when it's fully charged. But the threads all feel quite nice. And on this side is where these batteries go. So I'll put one of them in it now. So there we go. The positive on that one goes in first. Actually, these batteries, they are a 18500, the 2000 milliamp hour, 3.7 volt rechargeable battery. So 18650 won't fit. So 18500, and then that cap just goes back under the side. It takes a bit to get it started. You've got to put a bit of pressure inwards as you go. Okay, so here's the wheel here on top. As you can zoom in and out. Zoom clockwise is zoom in, anti-clockwise is zoom out. That's just from your home screen setting. You can press and you can long press to change different functions in the scope. There's your power on button there. There's changing between your different color palettes, or you can long press that one to go into your put your picture in picture up on your screen. Then there's your camera button, and there's your screen brightness. But there's a combination of different buttons. But first of all, when you first get the scope and you turn it on and go to set it up, they'd ship out with no reticle displayed on the picture. So to turn the reticle on, you have to press and hold the camera button and the brightness button. If you can get a little focus, so those two buttons, press and hold them for at least 15 seconds, and then that'll turn the reticle on. So after the reticle's turned on, then you'll be actually able to see where you want to aim, which is pretty important. But anyway, so that's the basic functions of it. Before we go any further, I'll show you the rangefinder. So we've got a little instruction booklet, and then here's how it comes packaged up. You got an Allen key for installing the mount, a few screws. There's the mount for installing it onto the scope. So it's like a quick detach system with a cantilever. So it just clips on the side of the scope and snaps on to lock. So and here's your rangefinder. And so this one actually doesn't come with a battery, so I've got a battery for it. It just takes a one CR123 battery, 3.7 volt lithium battery. So I've got this one here. Also, I think the size of it is a 16340. So that one goes in, you take the side cap off, it goes in positive end first, put the cap back on, connects via Bluetooth to the scope, so you mount it out onto the side like so. So anyway, we'll get the scope on the rifle first, and then we'll put the rangefinder on afterwards. So first of all, I'm going to attach the eye cup. See, so it just goes into the back here, and threads into there, and so then you got your eye cup there to just shade your eye from any glare in your face, so you hide your face a bit more in the dark. So there you go. And also another thing to consider, I've got a few different USB-C leads, and I tried a few different ones, but the one that they provided, there was only one other USB-C lead that I tried that actually was charging the scope. So just make note of that, make sure if you can use that lead, use it, because some of the other ones, they don't all charge it. I'm not sure whether this one sticks out a bit longer in the in here, this part, I'm not sure, but anyway, it was definitely something going on with it anyway. So to use that one if you can. If you can't, make sure that those that are actually LED indicator in here, when you plug it in, the red LED comes on when you're actually charging, so to indicate that it is actually charging. I'll just take that off. So anyway, let's get this under the rifle. So I've got the scope mounted up on top of my 223 and a Ruger American Ranch rifle, and I've put the laser rangefinder on, but one thing you got to watch out, if you don't want to use the rings that come with the rifle like I did here, I've used some Leopold rings just to try and lower the scope down onto the rifle closer to the barrel, which is okay if you're using a short rail like this. If you've got a full length Picatinny rail, you have to use those rings that are provided, or other ones that are higher, that they just take a 30mm rings, scope rings. So I've chosen to use these Leopold rings just for using with this rifle. But one thing I can't do is take this on and off without removing the scope from the rifle, because there's not enough room under here to be able to get that clamp underneath. So it's just a cantilever clamp, quick detach clamp. So what I'll have to do is leave the rangefinder on there, but that's okay, I can put up with that. If I want to take it off, I can just take the scope off, take the rangefinder off and put it back on. So anyway, I'm just going to show you sort of how to line up the rangefinder with the reticle in the scope for the rangefinding reticle, because obviously you can't see the beam from the laser rangefinder in the scope. So I've got some targets down the range there. I've got some new targets I've made up. There's the one that's 50 and 100, 150, 200, and then the far one should be about 250. So anyway, we'll get on to showing you how this thing works. So it's got actual red laser in this as well to assist you with lining up the thing, so you can aim the laser down at the target and then move your reticle onto the laser. So I'm just going to do that now, just make sure it's lined up. I think I've got it fairly well lined up when I mounted this. Here's tighten up these two screws here with the Allen key. I've got the laser fairly well lined up, I'm pretty sure, out to about 100 meters. So. Okay, to go over the basic settings, I'm going to have to hold the camera lens right up against here so you can see the screen, what it is. So what I'll be doing is using there's a short press. You can short press that, which brings up your quick menu, or you can long press, which takes you to your main menu. And you can use a series of these buttons here, which on the back is your, if it'll focus, there's your brightness button, there's your camera record button, and there's your color palettes button there, that one there with a P on it, and your power button. So to turn your laser on, actually the red laser in here, you'll have to turn the laser on here first, press and hold it, the little green light comes up in the back, and it should automatically connect to the scope. The Bluetooth I think is on. So to turn the red laser pointer on in this thing, once that's connected, you have to press and hold the brightness button, and that turns the red laser on. Okay, now it's gone, so we're solid green for a bit, now it's gone off, so it means the laser rangefinder is connected. And if you can see up in the top corner there, I'll drop that down. You can see up the top there saying there 35 meters up in the top corner. It's taking a continuous measurement. Okay, so now the menu system, for you to go to just a quick press on the top button on the dial. One quick press brings up this, so you can turn it clockwise to cycle through the things. If you want to change your reticles, you just, so that's the top one, you change it to your reticle. You just give the button one press, quick press it again, changes all the different reticles. And I like to leave it on that one there. So then you can go to your colours. You got your red and green, and can't quite see what that one is in the camera. All the different colours. I like to leave it on that one if I've got it on white hot, so that when you get the target in the middle, you can see the slight black cross in the middle. It's very fine, so it's a lot easier to use. But if you're using black hot, you obviously want to change that to white, little white in the middle. So then I go down to the next one, which is your clarity. So that's your number one. It's not the clearest. Makes everything look a little bit more foggy. There's 2. I generally like to leave it on about 2 or 3. Otherwise 4 and 5 it sort of gets really sort of noisy for picture, quite grainy looking, but it all depends on the time of the day. So I'll just leave it on 3, and here's where you can change your target distance. If you got it sighted in for, I've got this one sighted in at 50 to 100 and 150. So I'll leave it at 100. And yeah, so that's just the quick settings. Okay, so here's your main menu. Your long press, you get into the main menu. There's your ultra clear mode you can have on there. There's your Wi-Fi, you can turn that on and off. Your Bluetooth, that's how you got to go into there to connect your laser rangefinder. So there's your compass, you can turn your compass on and off, which I'll leave it off. Laser calibration. So that's how you get your laser rangefinder calibrated, which we'll go into soon. There's your zeroing profile, so you can go into that to zero your rifle. So you got 3 different profiles you can have. Then here's your extras, how you reset your zeroing distance. I haven't used this profile before, so this is all set to 100 meters, but you can change all your metering in there. You can click on which one you want, and you can either change your distance, or you click on that one to go into your zeroing profile. You can rotate clockwise or anti-clockwise to get that to move your reticle. Then you just give it one press, and it changes to your y-axis, and then you can turn that either way to zero that. So I'll just leave it at your long press, and that's saves. But anyway, I'll show you the zeroing process soon. So your long press, bring back your main menu, then you can go to your calibration. So you can change that from auto, manual, auto, background. I just leave it automatic. Sometimes you can switch it to manual if you're recording and you don't want it to just calibrate sometimes when you're in the middle of a shot or shooting and everything freezes up for a second or 2. So you can switch it to manual, so every time you push the power button it'll recalibrate the sensor. There's your standby, so I'll just leave that off so it's always on, because the scope takes about 20 seconds to actually turn on from off, so it's a little bit slow starting up. So then you go pick the defective pixel correction, so compass calibration, and then your main settings. So anyway, that's all your menu. We're going to go into this one here, so calibrate the laser. So I'm going to press and hold the brightness button on the back 4 buttons near the power button. Okay, so I'm just going to move that laser red dot actually onto that target. So you can see it's now on that red dot's pointing on that target out there at 50 meters. And so now we're going to the main settings in the scope. Okay, so we're now going to the settings on the scope. So you press and hold that, your top wheel, and so you go into, it's still selected on the rangefinder calibration. So you press that, and so you can move your target around, move the crosshair around just by turning the wheel. If you want to go down a bit, I'm trying to read in my camera screen because I got the camera up against the scope. Just double check the target. Laser's still on the target, and so that should be calibrated correctly. So then now press and hold, and it's saved that to there. But if you don't want that, if you don't want the laser calibration right in the middle of the crosshairs, which I don't mind it in the middle there, sometimes it can get annoying though, because you got that, if the rangefinder's on, you've always got that other green box around the target. So you can probably move it out to the side a bit. So, but anyway, I'm just going to, for the purpose of this video, I'll just leave it there. Okay, so now we're just going to go into the, show you how to zero this rifle. So you long press on the top wheel, bring up the menu, and if you're right back at the start, you got to scroll right through to the next page. So you can select your profile. So I'm on profile A. For the purpose of this video, I might just go to profile B, which is one I haven't used before. Select that. Just a short press on the button. Then you go to your thing. I'm going to go to first one, 0 to 50 meters. So change that to 50. There you go. So then you press and hold. That saves it. So then you go back up to the cross, so that you press it again on that, and now you can zero your reticle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot at that target there. Got a piece of poly sheeting there, so when the bullet goes through it, actually the friction from the bullet going through, you can see it shows the bullet hole up for a little while. It's a lot easier to zero in the thermal. So anyway, we'll take a shot at the target, and then I'll show you zeroing, moving the actual reticle. So when you get into the zeroing screen inside the scope, to freeze the frame, you press and hold your color palette button and your camera button. You press and hold them together until it freezes the frame. So it's actually pretty good, because you can press and hold, it doesn't freeze it straight away. You got a bit of time to move that crosshair, line that crosshair up with where you want it to be, and then it'll freeze. So just a long press both of those two buttons together. So go back into zero the reticle. Actually, I'm going to exit out of that and actually zoom in. So So I can see we get a better picture. Now go into the menu to 0. Put it across on there. Freeze the frame. And now I wind it across to there. Go back up. Okay, cross should be on there. Press and hold to save. Okay, now if I aim at that last top dot up on the right hand, the left hand side up the top. Should have gone nearly in the same place. I'll have another shot at the same. And then another shot at the same place again. There you go, that's good enough for me. If that was a cat's head there, it'd be a dead cat. Or a fox or whatever. So yeah, that's zeroed at 50 metres. I'll go through the colour palettes. See that one there, that's white hot. And there's black hot. There's red hot. There's ultraviolet. And then that's identification mode. So I find it's a pretty good mode to have it on most of the time. So yeah, you got the record button, as you can press and hold, and it starts your recording. And you press and hold again, and that stops it. Or if you just do one short press, it takes a picture and just captures a still image. But it doesn't record any of the information on the screen, only your crosshair. The image itself, not the screen, the data, overlaid data on the screen. So anyway, we'll leave it at that, I think. So anyway, that's the tube TH50 from InfiRay, the version 2 review and how to set it up, what the menus are, what's in the scope. I'm sorry for the dodgy recording in the inside of the scope because of the you can't record the screen, so I just had to hold the camera up to the back of the scope while I'm doing it, so it's a bit awkward. But anyway, you can see a basic rundown of the functions of the scope, how to align the laser rangefinder up with the reticle inside, and also how to zero the rifle. So hope you have got something out of this, and for those of you who want to purchase this scope, head over to InfiRay or InfiRay and their website. I'll leave a link in the description below to their website. And also they've got lots of other scopes and whatever there as well. But I really like the picture clarity in this scope. It's a really nice clear scope and it gets a pretty easy target ID. So yeah, if you have got something out of this, give it a big thumbs up and a like, and if you're not already subscribed to the channel, head over there and check out my other videos and stay tuned because I'll be putting more videos up using this scope out in the field, and hopefully we can find a few ferals to shoot. So stay tuned and I'll see you all in another video.